Captain Morphin had seen many strange things in his 40 years of hauling cargo across the stars, but nothing prepared him for what his scanners showed that day. A small escape pod tumbled through the darkness of space, spinning slowly like a leaf caught in an invisible current. His ship, the Steady Prophet, was 3 days from the nearest station, deep in the border territories where smart captains didn't ask too many questions. "Captain, we have life signs," Tess called from the navigation console. Her scales rippled with concern, a sure sign the Vulcan navigator sensed trouble. "Whoever is in that pod won't last much longer. Their oxygen is almost gone." Morphin stared at the scanner readings. Every instinct he developed as a merchant told him to keep flying. Rescue missions meant complications. Complications meant delays. Delays meant lost profit. But his people had an old saying, "A debt unpaid follows you through every star." "Bring it aboard," he ordered. His crew exchanged nervous glances. The 6 Vulcans who worked his cargo hauler had families depending on their wages. Nobody wanted trouble. But they also knew their captain well enough not to argue when his mind was set. The cargo bay doors opened, and mechanical arms guided the damaged pod inside. Warning lights flickered across its surface. Blast marks scorched the metal hull, evidence of weapon fire. When the airlock pressurized and Morphin opened the pod's hatch, he understood why his crew looked worried. The creature inside was unlike anything in the consortium's database of known species. She had smooth skin the color of desert sand, long dark hair matted with blood, and only 2 eyes instead of the 4 most species possessed. Her body was smaller than a Vulcan, more fragile looking, but Morphin could see the strength in her build. A deep wound crossed her shoulder, still bleeding slowly. Her breathing came in shallow gasps. "Is that a human?" Tess whispered from behind him. Morphin had heard the rumors. Humans were a new species, barely known to the consortium. Some said they were aggressive. Others claimed they were reckless. A few merchants who traded in the outer regions spoke of human research ships, always asking questions, always pushing into unexplored space. But nobody Morphin knew had ever met one face to face. Right now, the species classification didn't matter. What mattered was that someone was dying in front of him. He grabbed the medical kit from the wall and went to work. His hands moved quickly, applying synthetic skin to seal the wound, injecting broad-spectrum antibiotics, checking vital signs on the portable scanner. The human's biology was close enough to Vulcan physiology that his medical supplies worked, though her heart rate seemed dangerously fast until he realized humans simply beat faster than other species. 3 hours passed. Morphin used half his medical supplies and called up every emergency procedure in his ship's database. Slowly, the human's vital signs stabilized. Her breathing deepened. The color returned to her face. Morphin sat back on his heels, exhausted but satisfied. She would live. While the human rested in the medical bay, Morphin returned to the pod. Its computer system was damaged but still functional. He accessed the data logs and felt his blood run cold as he read. The pod belonged to Dr. Emma Wright, xenobiologist, Terran Research Initiative. Her ship, the Horizon's Edge, had been attacked 4 days ago by pirates. The logs showed desperate voices, weapons fire, hull breaches. Emma had fought her way to the escape pod while her ship died around her. She programmed the distress beacon, launched into space, and hoped someone would find her before her air ran out. But what worried Morphin most was the emblem painted on the pod's exterior. A blue and green world marked with white clouds. The symbol of Earth. Anyone who scanned his ship would know exactly what he carried. "Captain," Thessa's voice crackled over the comm system. "The human is awake." Morphin hurried to the medical bay. Emma Wright's brown eyes focused on him with surprising clarity. She tried to speak, coughed, and tried again. The translator implant behind her ear sparked and flickered, damaged but still working. "Thank you," she managed, her words translated into Vulcan. Her voice was rough, strained. "You saved my life." "You are safe now," Morphin replied, his own translator converting his words to her language. "I am Captain Morphin. You are aboard the Steady Prophet." Emma's expression changed in an instant. Gratitude became urgency. Fear flashed in her eyes. She grabbed his arm with surprising strength for someone so recently near death. "The beacon," she gasped. "My distress beacon. Did you turn it off?" "Your distress beacon?" "No, I left it active so your people could." "Turn it off now." Emma's grip tightened. "The pirates are hunting me. They're tracking that signal. If they find me on your ship, they will kill everyone aboard. Every single person." Morphin felt ice settle in his stomach. "Why are pirates hunting you? What did you discover?" I found something they don't want known. Someone powerful paid them to destroy my research. To destroy me. Emma struggled to sit up despite the pain. Please, Captain. Turn off that beacon before they arrive. I am not worth your crew's lives. Before Morphin could answer, the ship's alarm system screamed to life. Red lights flashed throughout the corridor. Thessa's panicked voice filled every speaker on the ship. Captain. 3 ships just appeared on our scanners. They dropped out of hyperspace right on top of us. They are hailing us. They say they are looking for human cargo. They have weapons locked on our position. Morphin stared at Emma. The human woman looked back at him with desperate eyes. In that moment, the Vulcan captain made a decision that would change everything. He did not know he was about to start a war. He did not know Earth was already coming. He only knew one thing with absolute certainty. He would not abandon this woman to pirates. Thess, emergency jump coordinates. Maximum speed to station Chiral 9. But Captain, we have not paid our docking fees there in 3 years. Do it now. Morphin barked. He looked at Emma. Can your people track the beacon? Emma nodded, tears forming in her eyes. If it is still active, yes. Earth will come. I do not know how long it will take, but they will come. They always come for their people. Then we buy time, Morphin said. And we pray your people arrive before the pirates kill us all. The Steady Prophet jumped into hyperspace with 3 pirate ships in pursuit. Far away, on a blue world 20,000 light-years distant, humanity received the distress signal. And deep in the halls of Earth's military headquarters, Admiral Catherine Wells looked at the data and made her own decision. 1 human was in danger. That meant Earth was going to war. Admiral Catherine Wells stood in the command center deep beneath Geneva, staring at the holographic display with cold fury burning in her chest. The distress beacon signal had arrived 40 minutes ago, automatically flagged by Earth's monitoring network. One of their own was in trouble. Dr. Emma Wright, mother of 3 children, brilliant scientist, was floating somewhere in hostile space after a pirate attack. Give me the situation, Wells ordered. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, matching the hard lines of her face. She had fought in the Unification Wars 30 years ago. She knew what happened when good people did nothing. Commander James Porter stepped forward, his fingers dancing across the controls. Beacon is still active, Admiral. Last position shows her near Vulcan trade routes. The signal is moving. Someone picked her up and they are keeping her alive. Life signs confirmed. Yes? Stable as of 20 minutes ago. Whoever found her gave her medical attention. Wells allowed herself one breath of relief. Then her expression hardened again like steel cooling. What about the attack on her ship? Pirates, Admiral. They call themselves the Corvan Syndicate. Multiple species working together. They operate in neutral zones where the consortium governments claim they have no authority to act. How convenient for everyone, Wells said, her voice dripping with contempt. She turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant Roberts, contact the Security Council. Full emergency authorization. Tell them we have a situation. Within 1 hour, the command center transformed into a war room. Holographic star charts filled the air. Fleet positions glowed in blue. The blinking red dot that represented Emma Wright's beacon pulsed like a heartbeat. Around the main table sat Earth's unified government representatives, men and women who had learned to work together after centuries of fighting each other. Ambassador David Stone spoke first. He was a careful man, a diplomat who thought before acting. Admiral, what exactly are you proposing? Immediate military response, Wells said without hesitation. Dr. Wright is a Terran citizen. Her ship was operating under legal charter in neutral space. The attack was unprovoked. We respond with force. We do not even have diplomatic relations with most species in that sector, argued Ambassador Helen Foster. She was thin, sharp, always worried about political consequences. A military action could create problems we cannot. Problems? Wells interrupted, her voice dangerous and quiet. The problem is that 14 humans are dead and 1 is running for her life from pirates. The problem is that someone attacked our people and thought we would do nothing. Should we send them a letter asking them to please stop murdering our citizens? The room went silent. Stone raised his hand for calm. Admiral, I understand your feelings. But we need to think about the larger picture. There is no larger picture, Wells cut him off. There is only this: do we protect our people or do we abandon them? Humanity spent 500 years learning one lesson the hard way. If you do not stand up for your own people, you lose them. We drew lines between us and them for centuries. We killed each other over those lines. We finally unified because we realized something simple. Every human is us. There is no them. She leaned forward, her eyes blazing. Now you want me to go to Emma Wright's 3 children and tell them their mother was not worth the political inconvenience? You want me to explain that we let her die because we were worried about making alien governments uncomfortable? Nobody spoke. Commander Porter cleared his throat. There is something else. The beacon data shows Dr. Wright's research files were accessed before the attack. Someone wanted her work. What was she researching? Stone asked. Porter brought up new images. 6-limbed aliens with beautiful crystal cities filled the display. A species called the Colossians. They are advanced but do not have faster-than-light travel yet. Dr. Wright found evidence that someone was interfering with their development. Sabotaging their progress. Stealing their resources. Her last report suggested consortium involvement. Ambassador Foster's expression changed. If the consortium or one of its members is suppressing her research to hide illegal activity, then we have an even bigger problem, Wells finished. But first we get our people back. Then we ask hard questions. Then we make sure everyone understands what happens when you attack humans. Stone studied the Admiral for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. How many ships? 15. Cruisers and support vessels. Fast response group. We establish a perimeter around the beacon location. We make it very clear that Dr. Wright is under Earth's protection. We bring her home. And if they refuse to hand her over? Wells's smile was cold enough to freeze stars. Then they learn why humanity survived our own worst instincts. We are very, very good at war when we need to be. 4 days later, the Steady Prophet limped into Station Kirill 9. Captain Morphin's hands were steady on the controls, but sweat covered his scales. The pirates had chased them through 3 hyperspace jumps before losing their trail. But Morphin knew they would catch up eventually. Word spread fast in the neutral zones. Emma had recovered quickly during the journey. Humans healed faster than Vulcans expected. She spent the time telling Morphin about her research in broken Vulcan, her damaged translator struggling to keep up. They are called Colossians, Emma explained, showing him images on her repaired datapad. Beautiful people. Artistic. Peaceful. They are so close to discovering faster-than-light travel. Maybe 10 or 20 years away. But someone is stopping them. Sabotaging their scientists. Stealing resources from their asteroid belt. I traced it back to a consortium company. When I reported it, everything went wrong. The attack came 2 weeks later. Now, as they docked at the station, Morphin faced a new problem. Station security was already walking toward his airlock. Behind them, 3 individuals who were definitely not official personnel watched with too much interest. Bounty hunters, probably. Or information brokers. Word had spread that Morphin carried something valuable. Dr. Wright, you should hide, Morphin said urgently. Emma shook her head. She stood with difficulty, still weak but determined. No more hiding. These people need to understand something. Earth does not abandon its citizens. Not ever. Earth does not even know where you are. My beacon is still active, Emma said quietly. They know. And they are coming. I promise you, Captain. They are coming. The airlock opened. Station Security Chief Ven stepped aboard, a massive Draxian with 4 arms and an officious expression. Behind him, the suspicious individuals tried to look casual and failed. Captain Morphin, Ven rumbled in his deep voice. Station regulations require all rescued life forms to be quarantined for identification and diplomatic processing. She is injured, Morphin protested. She needs medical care, not bureaucracy. Station Medical can provide. No. Emma stepped forward. Despite her injuries, her voice carried authority. I am Dr. Emma Wright of the Terran Research Initiative. I am a citizen of Earth. I demand immediate contact with my government. Ven's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. Terran? You mean, human? The word spread through the docking bay like fire. The information brokers suddenly looked nervous. Station workers stopped and stared. In the distance, an alarm began to sound. Warning, the station's computer announced calmly. Unknown vessels entering station space. Military configuration detected. Transponder signals identify as Terran Defense Initiative. All ships hold position. Multiple weapons locks detected. Standby for communication. A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the docking bay. A human woman in military uniform appeared, her gray hair and stern expression radiating cold authority. "This is Admiral Catherine Wells of the Terran Defense Initiative. We are tracking one of our citizens, Dr. Emma Wright. Whoever has her, you have one chance to ensure her safety. After that, we stop asking nicely." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "They came," she whispered. "I knew they would." Morphin stared at the display showing 15 human warships holding position outside the station. Ships built like fortresses, covered in weapons, radiating threat. He had rescued one human out of simple decency. And humanity had brought an entire fleet to war. Admiral Catherine Wells stood on the bridge of the Defiant, her flagship, watching the tactical display with cold satisfaction. Station Kirill 9 had chosen wisely. They cooperated. Dr. Emma Wright was aboard the Defiant within 1 hour, receiving treatment in the medical bay. The station authorities had been nervous, apologetic, eager to help once they understood Earth was serious. But Wells was not finished. Not even close. "Status on the Corvin Syndicate," she ordered. Commander Porter pulled up new data on the holographic display. "We tracked 3 of their ships to a refueling depot in the Nexus Void. Technically unclaimed space. The depot is run by a Corvin subsidiary company. Intelligence suggests they hide behind corporate shells, but it all leads back to the same group." "How many ships at the depot?" 12, Admiral. Mixed classes. Some are armed merchant vessels. 4 are genuine warships." Lieutenant Margaret Blake, the tactical officer, whistled low. "They have teeth." "So do we," Wells replied. Her voice was quiet, dangerous. "And we are about to show them exactly how sharp our teeth are. Porter, send a message to the depot. Tell them we want the ships that attacked the horizon's edge. We want everyone involved in targeting Dr. Wright. They have 6 hours to comply." "And if they refuse, Admiral?" Wells's smile was thin and cold. "Then we remind them that Earth did not become a unified planet by asking politely. Blake, prepare the fleet for combat operations." 6 hours later, at the Corvin refueling depot, Regional Commander Rax read the human message and laughed. He was a moiety with 3 arms, more scars than sense, and 20 years of raiding experience. The consortium governments looked the other way when he operated. Independent captains paid tribute or died. Nobody challenged the Corvin in the neutral zones. Now some unknown species thought they could demand his surrender? "Ignore them," Rax told his second-in-command, a nervous Velkin named Thane. "They are bluffing. One human research vessel does not justify a military response. They will realize they are outmatched and leave." "Sir, our sensors show 15 human warships. Their weapons are charged and ready. Maybe we should consider." "Consider what? Surrender?" Rax slammed a fist on the console. "The void belongs to those with the strength to take it. We show them strength. Bring all ships online. Full combat readiness." The 6-hour deadline passed. What happened next would be studied by military strategists across the galaxy for decades to come. The human fleet did not negotiate. They did not make threats. They did not waste time with warnings. Admiral Wells simply gave one order: "Blake, light them up." The Defiant and its support ships opened fire with precision that shocked every Corvin defender. Railgun rounds traveling at impossible speeds tore through shields like tissue paper. Missile barrages overwhelmed point defense systems that were supposed to be state-of-the-art. The human ships moved together with coordination that suggested years of training, because they had trained for years. Earth had unified through war. They knew how to fight. Rax watched in horror as his flagship shields collapsed under the assault. Alarms screamed. Crew members shouted in panic. "Return fire. All ships, return." His order was cut off as a human cruiser, the Marathon, performed what looked like a suicide run straight through the depot's defensive perimeter. But it was not suicide. It was strategy. The Marathon absorbed fire from multiple Corvin ships, its heavy armor shrugging off hits that would have destroyed lighter vessels. While the Corvin focused on the Marathon, the rest of the human fleet repositioned for killing shots. 12 minutes. That was how long the battle lasted. 4 Corvin warships were disabled, their engines destroyed, their weapons offline. The armed merchant vessels scattered in every direction, their crews abandoning the fight. The depot itself burned from targeted strikes on weapon emplacements and shield generators. The humans had surgical precision. They knew exactly where to hit and how hard. "Cease fire." Rax gasped, his console sparking and smoking. "We surrender." "We." "Negative." Admiral Wells's voice cut across all communication frequencies, cold and absolute. You do not get to surrender yet. First, you answer questions. Who paid you to attack the horizon's edge? Who wanted Dr. Wright's research destroyed? Rax looked at his tactical display. His ships were crippled. Half his crew was injured or dead. The human fleet had not even broken formation. They sat in perfect attack positions, weapons still charged, waiting for his answer. It was a contract, he stammered, his pride broken. Anonymous payment through corporate channels. We were supposed to take the research data and eliminate the crew. We did not know she was important. We did not know Earth would. Every human is important, Wells interrupted. Her voice was ice. And you are going to tell us everything you know about this contract. Porter, board the depot. I want prisoners. I want data cores. I want every piece of evidence about who hired them. Use whatever force is necessary. From a damaged corvette, Thane whispered to his surviving crew members, the stories were true. You do not attack humans. You do not threaten them. They will burn the stars to protect their own. 3 days later, Ambassador Thomas Clark stood in the Vulcan Consortium's Grand Assembly Hall, feeling distinctly out of place. The humans had requested this diplomatic meeting, but the atmosphere was hostile. Representatives from dozens of species whispered and glared at the small human delegation. They were angry about the battle at the Corvin depot. Angry about Earth's military action. Angry that humans dared to use force in neutral space. Chancellor Vross, the Vulcan leader of the consortium, opened the session. His 4 eyes focused on Thomas with disapproval. Ambassador Clark, your fleet's actions in the Nexus Void have caused significant concern across the consortium. The Corvin may be pirates, but your military response was excessive. Disproportionate. Thomas, a former soldier himself, kept his expression neutral. Chancellor, they attacked a civilian research vessel. They murdered 14 people. They left Dr. Wright to die in the void. We consider that an act of war. War? A Draxian representative stood, spreading his 4 arms wide in disbelief. Over one individual? Your species' attachment to single lives is completely irrational. Is it? Thomas challenged, his voice calm but firm. Tell me, representative, if pirates attacked your child and left them to die, would you consider it rational to do nothing? The Draxian hesitated, his arms lowering slightly. That is what I thought, Thomas continued. Humanity learned something important during our unification. We learned that society is measured by how it treats the most vulnerable. Emma Wright was alone. Injured. Hunted. We could have calculated the political cost versus the benefit of rescue. We could have decided she was not worth the trouble. Instead, we chose to act. And we will make that choice every single time. Chancellor Vross leaned forward. You cannot police the entire galaxy, Ambassador. We are not trying to, Thomas replied. But we will protect our citizens. And we will protect those who help us. Captain Morphin of the Steady Prophet risked his life to save Dr. Wright when he could have ignored her distress signal. That kind of decency deserves protection, not punishment. This is about one merchant captain. Vross looked surprised. It is about principle, Thomas said firmly. Morphin did the right thing. If your consortium punishes him, or if you allow pirates to hunt him for helping us, then yes, it becomes about him. Earth stands with those who stand with us. A new voice entered the chamber, cold and calculating. Ambassador Wren of the Axion hierarchy projected his hologram into the room. The Axion resembled a crystalline spider, light refracting through his multiple limbs in unsettling patterns. He was one of the most powerful beings in known space. How noble, Wren's translated voice dripped with sarcasm. But your nobility is causing market instability, Ambassador Clark. The Corvin Syndicate, despite their crude methods, kept the shipping lanes orderly. Your attack has created a power vacuum. Chaos is bad for business. Thomas turned to face the hologram. Then fill that vacuum with legitimate security. Or are you saying the galaxy needs pirates to function? I am saying, Wren replied slowly, that humanity should learn its place. You are new here. You do not understand how galactic civilization operates. There are rules, traditions, balances of power that have existed for centuries. Maybe that is good, Thomas shot back. Because from where I stand, your galactic civilization allows pirates to operate freely. It ignores attacks on civilians. It punishes good people like Captain Morphin for doing the right thing. If that is your civilization, then maybe it needs to change. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives shouted. Chancellor Vross called for order repeatedly. The damage was done. The galaxy had just seen humanity's true nature. Not conquerors. Not diplomats. Defenders with principles they would die for. As the session collapsed into chaos, Thomas received a priority message from Admiral Wells. His face went pale as he read it. The data from the Corvin depot was clear. The contract to attack Emma Wright came from an Axion subsidiary company. They wanted her research about the collisions buried forever. Thomas looked at Ambassador Wren's departing hologram and felt certainty settle in his bones. They had wanted war over one human? They were about to get exactly what they asked for. Dr. Emma Wright stood before a room full of Earth's most important officials, scientists, and military personnel. Her arm was still in a support brace, her face still showed bruises from the attack, but her voice was strong and clear as she presented her findings. The Colossians are a peaceful species on the edge of a technological revolution, Emma explained, bringing up images of six-limbed aliens in beautiful crystal cities. They have developed early computer systems, sustainable fusion power, and their best scientists are theorizing about faster-than-light travel. By galactic standards, they are maybe 50 years from first contact. Admiral Wells leaned forward in her chair. What interference did you document? Resource theft, primarily. Emma brought up mining data, star charts, shipping manifests. The collision system is rich in rare elements. Elements that are crucial for building FTL drives. Someone has been secretly mining their outer asteroid belt for the past decade. Stealing the very resources the Colossians will need when they are ready to build their own ships. But it is worse than simple theft. She paused, her expression darkening. 3 times in the last 20 years, Colossian scientists who were close to FTL breakthroughs died in accidents. Lab fires. Transport failures. Equipment malfunctions. I analyzed the patterns. The timing. These were not accidents. They were assassinations. The room went silent. Commander Porter spoke quietly. Sabotage. Murder. To keep them from advancing. Exactly, Emma confirmed. And I traced the mining operations back through shell companies, corporate subsidiaries, hidden accounts. It all leads to one source. The Axion hierarchy. They are deliberately keeping the Colossians pre-FTL, stripping their system of resources before the Colossians can claim them under galactic law. Ambassador Stone looked physically ill. That is monstrous. They are condemning an entire civilization to poverty. That is profitable, Emma corrected bitterly. Once a species achieves faster-than-light travel, their home system becomes sovereign territory under consortium law. They own their resources. They have rights. But pre-FTL species have no legal protection. Their systems are considered unclaimed resources. Free for the taking. The Axion have been exploiting this loophole for centuries, I suspect. The Colossians are just one example we discovered. And when you reported this through proper channels? Wells asked, though she already knew the answer. 2 weeks later, my ship was attacked. The pirates took all my research data. They tried to kill everyone aboard the Horizon's Edge. 14 people died. I only survived because Captain Morphin found my escape pod. Emma's voice shook with emotion. They murdered my friends to protect their profit. Ambassador Stone stood, pacing. We have the evidence from the Corvin depot. We can prove the Axion connection. But if we go public with this information, we start a diplomatic war, Ambassador Foster finished. The Axion hierarchy controls a third of galactic trade. Half the consortium species depend on their corporate networks for essential goods. If we accuse them publicly, we risk economic collapse across multiple systems. So we do nothing. Emma's voice rose with anger. We let them keep exploiting the Colossians? We let them murder scientists and steal resources? We let them get away with killing my crew? No, Wells said quietly, but with absolute certainty. We do what humanity does best. We make this personal. She stood and addressed the entire room. Dr. Wright nearly died trying to protect the Colossians. Earth does not abandon its people. We do not abandon the causes they fight for. If the Axion want to play corporate games with people's lives, they are about to learn something important. Humanity does not calculate in profit margins. We calculate in principles. Admiral, Stone warned, we cannot take on the Axion hierarchy alone. They are too powerful. We will not be alone, Ambassador Thomas Clark interjected from the back of the room. Captain Morphin helped Emma when he could have looked away. There are others like him throughout the galaxy. Beings who are tired of how things operate. Tired of the strong exploiting the weak. We give them an alternative. We show them that another way is possible. Wells nodded. Porter, I want full analysis of the collusion situation. Military options for protecting their system from further exploitation. Clark, reach out to Captain Morphin directly. Offer him and his crew asylum on Earth if they need it. Full citizenship if they want it. And get me a direct communication channel to Ambassador Wren of the Axion hierarchy. You are going to confront him directly? Stone asked with concern. I am going to give him a choice, Wells replied. Stop the exploitation. Return compensation to the collusions for what was stolen. Face justice for the attack on our people. Or Earth makes it our mission to ensure every species in the galaxy knows exactly what the Axion hierarchy has been doing. 2 days later, Ambassador Wren's hologram materialized on the bridge of the Defiant. His crystalline form seemed to absorb and refract the light in disturbing ways. Admiral Wells. I understand you wish to speak with me. I wanted to show you something, Wells replied calmly. She activated a holographic display. Data streams filled the space between them. Financial records, mining operations, communication intercepts, autopsy reports. This is everything Dr. Wright discovered about your operations in the Kalos system. Mining theft. Scientific sabotage. Murder. And this, she brought up new files, is evidence we recovered from the Corvin Syndicate. The contract to attack the Horizon's Edge. Payment traced through an Axion subsidiary company directly to the pirates who killed 14 humans. Wren's limbs twitched slightly. The Axion equivalent of a casual shrug. Corporate activities, Admiral. I have no direct knowledge of subsidiary operations. You understand how large organizations work. Of course, Wells said, her voice dripping with false understanding. Just like you have no knowledge of 3 collusion scientists dying under suspicious circumstances. Just like you have no knowledge of systematic resource theft from a pre-contact civilization that cannot defend itself. The collusions are pre-FTL, Wren replied smoothly. Their system is legally classified as unclaimed territory. If Axion companies extract resources from unclaimed territory, they operate within galactic law. Perfectly legal. Legal, Wells repeated the word like it tasted foul. Tell me, Ambassador, does galactic law also cover hiring pirates to murder civilian researchers? Because Earth has different laws. We call that terrorism. We call that an act of war. For the first time, Wren's hologram flickered with what might have been concern. You are threatening the Axion hierarchy over 1 human scientist. Over 14 humans who died, Wells corrected. Over an entire species that cannot defend itself from exploitation. Over the principle that some things matter more than profit. She leaned forward. Here is what happens next. You cease all operations in the Kalos system immediately. You return fair compensation for every resource stolen. You submit to an independent investigation of your role in the attack on the Horizon's Edge. These are not negotiations. These are terms. Wren's hologram actually produced a sound like laughter. Or what, Admiral? You go to war with the most powerful economic force in the galaxy? Earth does not have the resources. You do not have the allies. You would be crushed. Maybe, Wells admitted. But we have something you do not understand. We have people like Captain Morphin, who risked everything to save 1 human because it was the right thing to do. We have species throughout the galaxy who are tired of being exploited. Tired of watching the powerful crush the weak. And we have a very long memory for our enemies. She activated another display. This is a public broadcast we prepared. Every detail of Axion exploitation in the Kalos system. Every suspicious death. Every stolen resource. Every murdered scientist. We are ready to send it to every news network, every government, every independent captain in the galaxy. Some will ignore it. Many will not. And those who do not will start asking questions about what else the Axion hierarchy has been hiding. Wren's hologram went perfectly still. You would destabilize the galactic economy over this. Without hesitation, Wells said. Earth did not survive our own darkest days by being practical. We survived by being stubborn. By refusing to accept that profit justifies cruelty. You wanted to bury Emma Wright's research? Congratulations. You are about to make it the most famous discovery in galactic history. The consortium will stop you, Wren threatened. The other species will not allow. Will make their own choices, Wells interrupted. But I suspect many of them are tired of Axion control. We are offering an alternative. A coalition of species who believe some things matter more than market stability. Join us or oppose us, Ambassador. But do not mistake our principles for weakness. Ren's hologram flickered. The Axion hierarchy does not respond well to threats. Good, Wells smiled without warmth. Neither does humanity. You have 72 hours to respond to our terms. After that, we release everything and let the galaxy decide who they want to do business with. Wells out. The hologram vanished. Commander Porter whistled low. Admiral, you just declared war on the most powerful economic entity in known space. No, Wells corrected. I gave them a chance to avoid war. Now we see if they are smart enough to take it. The human fleet had grown beyond anything Admiral Wells expected. What started as 15 warships 3 weeks ago now numbered 43 vessels holding position around the Colossian homeworld. Terran military cruisers floated alongside civilian volunteers from a dozen different species. Vulcan merchants. Draxian independents. Even a few former Moiety pirates who decided humanity's cause was worth fighting for. Captain Morphin's steady profit held position among the civilian volunteers. The humble cargo hauler had become an unlikely symbol of resistance. The Vulcan merchant who saved one human now commanded respect across the fleet. Admiral, Commander Porter reported from his station, Axion fleet dropping out of hyperspace. 68 ships. Mix of military warships and corporate security vessels. They brought an army, Lieutenant Blake observed, watching the tactical display fill with red hostile markers. They brought a message, Wells corrected calmly. They want to show us we are outmatched. They want us to run. She opened a communication channel. This is Admiral Catherine Wells to the Axion fleet. You are entering protected space around a pre-contact civilization. Turn back now or face the consequences. Ambassador Ren's hologram appeared, his crystalline form radiating cold fury. Admiral, you have 48 hours to withdraw your forces from Kello's system. Your interference in legitimate corporate operations ends today. This is your final warning. Legitimate. Wells's voice could have cut steel. You murdered 14 humans. You sabotaged the Colossians for decades. You tried to silence Dr. Wright permanently. There is nothing legitimate about any of it. You are outnumbered, Ren stated flatly. Your reinforcements are a collection of merchants and idealists. Civilians playing soldier. Against Axion military vessels, you have no chance of victory. Wells smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. That is what the Corvin Syndicate thought. Would you like to ask them how that worked out? Oh wait, you cannot. Their fleet is disabled and their leaders are in custody awaiting trial. The Corvin were disorganized pirates. Ren dismissed the comparison. We are a recognized galactic power. An attack on Axion vessels will bring the full weight of the consortium down on Earth. You will be isolated. Sanctioned. Destroyed economically. Then bring it, Wells replied simply. Because Earth has made its choice. We stand with those who cannot defend themselves. We protect our own. We remember our enemies forever. She paused for effect. But Ambassador, you are wrong about one thing. We are not outnumbered. We are exactly where we need to be. On cue, new contacts appeared on the tactical display. Ships dropping out of hyperspace from multiple vectors. Not corporate vessels. Not pirates. Military craft bearing the official insignia of 3 consortium member species. Chancellor Vross's voice crackled across all channels. This is the Vulcan Defense Fleet. We stand with Earth. We will not permit this attack. A Draxian commander added his voice. The Draxian Assembly has reviewed the evidence of Axion exploitation. We find it damning. We will not permit this aggression. Even a contingent of Moiety vessels appeared, their captain announcing proudly, the Moiety clans remember what it is like to be exploited by the powerful. Not here. Not today. Not ever again. Ambassador Ren's hologram flickered with what might have been shock or rage. You are all committing political suicide. The Axion hierarchy controls supply chains. Trade routes. Manufacturing. You cannot function without us. We will learn, Chancellor Vross replied coldly. We have watched Earth fight for principles we forgot we had. Principles our ancestors believed in before we became comfortable. Before we decided profit mattered more than justice. The consortium is voting today on sanctions against the Axion hierarchy. Your corporate immunity is ending. Wells watched the tactical display as more ships continued arriving. Independents. Merchants. Even a few former Corvin vessels whose crews decided to switch sides after hearing Emma Wright's story. The fleet opposing the Axion now numbered over 100 ships. A coalition of the willing. Last chance, Ambassador, Wells said quietly. Withdraw your forces. Submit to investigation. Face justice for what you have done. Or learn what happens when the galaxy remembers that some things matter more than quarterly profits. For a long moment, Ren's hologram remained frozen. The Axion fleet held position, weapons charged, ready for battle. The tension was thick enough to cut. Then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the Axion ships began powering down their weapons systems. This is not over, Ren promised, his voice vibrating with barely controlled fury. The Axion hierarchy has resources beyond your imagining. We have connections. We have leverage. We will. You have 72 ships against 112, Wells interrupted calmly. More arriving every hour as word spreads. Your choice, Ambassador. A war you cannot win, or justice you might survive. The Axion fleet began withdrawing, jumping back into hyperspace one by one. It was not surrender. It was strategic retreat. But it was enough. This changes nothing, Ren said as his hologram began fading. We will remember this. Good, Wells replied. So will we. 6 months later, Dr. Emma Wright stood before the Galactic Council, no longer injured, no longer running. She stood tall and confident as she presented her full research on the Colossians to representatives from 40 species. The Colossians deserve the chance to develop naturally, Emma explained, showing images of their beautiful civilization. They deserve to discover faster-than-light travel on their own timeline. They deserve to claim their own resources. They deserve to join the galactic community as equals, not as victims of exploitation. The council chamber was different now. The Axion hierarchy still held seats, but their power was diminished. The evidence Emma provided had sparked investigations into dozens of other systems. 3 more pre-contact civilizations were discovered under similar exploitation. The galaxy was changing, slowly, painfully, but definitely changing. Chancellor Vross stood to address the assembly. The Velkin Consortium proposes formal protections for all pre-contact civilizations. No mining. No interference. No exploitation. We call it the Right Protocol, named for the human who risked everything to expose the truth. The vote was not unanimous. The Axion and their allies opposed it. But it passed. For the first time in galactic history, pre-contact civilizations had legal protection. Captain Morphin sat in the gallery, watching the proceedings with his crew. He was a celebrity now, whether he wanted to be or not. The merchant who saved a human and started a revolution. Earth had offered him citizenship, a new ship, even a position in their merchant fleet. He declined politely. He preferred his old steady profit and the freedom of the space lanes. But he wore the medal Earth gave him with pride. A simple bronze circle with words in English, for standing when others looked away. After the vote, Emma found Morphin in the corridor outside the chamber. Thank you, she said simply. For everything. You saved my life. You changed the galaxy. Morphin's 4 eyes blinked in his species version of embarrassment. I just did what anyone should do. What was right. That is exactly the point, Emma replied. You did what was right when it would have been easier to do nothing. Earth does not forget that. We do not forget our friends. Admiral Wells approached, having watched the vote from Earth via holographic transmission. Captain Morphin, the offer still stands. Earth would be honored to have you. Morphin considered for a moment, then shook his head. I appreciate it, Admiral. But I am a merchant. I belong in space, moving cargo, seeing new places. That is who I am. Fair enough, Wells smiled. But know this. Any human ship you encounter, any human station you dock at, you are family. You are protected. You are home. Morphin felt something warm in his chest. He had rescued one human because his honor demanded it. In return, humanity had adopted him as one of their own. 3 months later, the first Colossian scientists detected the protective fleet in orbit around their world. They did not understand what it meant yet. They did not know that species they had never met were protecting them from exploitation. They did not know about Emma Wright or Captain Morphin or the war that was almost fought over their freedom. But they would learn. In 50 years, maybe less, the Colossians would develop faster than light travel. They would join the galactic community. And they would discover that before they even knew aliens existed, those aliens had fought to protect their right to develop in peace. On Earth, in a small house in Geneva, Emma Wright's 3 children asked their mother about her adventures. She told them stories, carefully edited for young ears, about pirates and rescues and standing up for what was right even when it was dangerous. Did you ever get scared, Mom? Her youngest asked. Every single day, Emma admitted honestly. But I learned something important. Being brave does not mean not being scared. Being brave means being scared and doing the right thing anyway. And it means knowing that if you stand up for others, good people will stand up for you. She looked at the photo on her desk. Captain Morphin standing beside her, both of them smiling, with the steady prophet visible in the background. A Vulcan merchant and a human scientist who changed the galaxy simply by being decent. Admiral Wells was right, Emma thought. Humanity did not win because they were the strongest or the richest or the most advanced. They won because they convinced others that some things mattered more than power. They won because one merchant captain decided that saving a life was more important than avoiding trouble. They won because they never forgot that principle,